Good afternoon, Mr. Buffett and Mr. Munger. My name is Kevin Truitt from Chicago. I have 3 questions for you. My second question is to Mr. Buffett. You've stated the importance of an occasional big idea. How were you able to, in fact, tell when you had a big idea?
Now, moving on to the big ideas, you know when you've got a big idea, and I can't tell you, exactly what happens within your nervous system or brain at that time, but we've had a relatively few big ideas, good ideas over the years. I don't know how many you think we've had in aggregate, probably in career, maybe 25 each or something.
If you took the top 15 out of Berkshire Hathaway, most of you people wouldn't be here. So roughly one every 2 years.
Yeah, one every year or two. And sometimes there'll be a bunch of them like in 1973 and 4. But the problem is for us is that big now really means big. I mean, it has to be billions of dollars to move the needle very much at Berkshire. But I would say that when I would turn those pages 50 years ago in the Moody's manuals, I would know when I hit a big idea. I've got a half a dozen of them that I keep the Xeroxes from those reports around from 50 years ago, just because it was so obvious that they were incredible. And that happens every now and then. When I met Lorimer Davidson, in end of January 1951, and he spent 4 hours or 5 hours with me explaining Geico, I knew it was a big idea. 8 months later, or probably 10 months later, I wrote an article to the Commercial and Financial Chronicle on the security I like best. It was a big idea. When I found Western Insurance Securities, I knew it was a big idea. I couldn't put millions of dollars into it, but I didn't have millions, so it didn't make any difference. And we've seen things subsequently, and we'll see. If we have a normal lifespan, we'll see a few more before we get done. But I can't tell you that exactly how. I can't tell you exactly what transpires in my mind that says, flashes a neon sign up that says this is a big idea. What happens with you, Charlie? Actually, I have a real system. My idea of a truly big idea is one I get and I call Charlie and he only says no, rather than that's the worst idea I've ever heard of. But if he just says no, it's a hell of an idea.
The game in our kind of life is being able to recognize a good idea when you rarely get it, and or where it rarely is presented to you. And I think that's something you have to prepare for over a long period. What is the old saying? That opportunity comes to the prepared mind. And I don't think you can teach people in 2 minutes how to have a prepared mind. But that's the game.
Things we learned 40 years ago, though, will help and recognize the next big idea.
And on opportunity cost, going back to that, the current freshman economics text, which is sweeping the country, has right in practically the first page, and it says all intelligent people should think primarily in terms of opportunity cost. And that's obviously correct. But it's very hard to teach business based on opportunity cost. It's much easier to teach the capital assets pricing model, where you can just punch in numbers and out come numbers. And therefore, people teach what is easy to teach instead of what is correct to teach. It reminds me of Einstein's famous saying. He says, everything should be made as simple as possible, but no more simple.
Write that down.